Hi everyone, if you are listening to this on the Sabbath, then I'd like to wish you a wonderful Sabbath filled with prayer, joy, and the feeling of closeness to the Lord. True to the Word is continuing with our science thread for our program reviews. It truly is a joy to watch them to learn about God's creation and worship Him for His works and character. So please join me as I review the last of the 3-part series, The Awesome Forces of God's Creation, Roaring Waters, presented by Jim Pemble and produced by Moody Publications. The last segment of the awesome forces of God's creation does not disappoint. As with the first 2 parts, Jim Pemble gives glory to God for the powerful forces we have on this earth. Floods, hurricanes, and tsunamis, otherwise known as tidal waves, are the general focus in this episode. Jim Pemble and the science experts effectively present the relationship between the weather and the severe elements we see. I really like how they zone in on the purpose of each element, for example, the purpose of storms. Jim gives us impressive comparisons of what nature can produce compared to man-made technology. This makes me think how there are opportunities to harness the power God has provided so that we can avoid paying high prices for things like electricity. For example, Jim gives an amazing fact. Nature generates more electricity in one day than the latest technology can generate in 1 year. One lightning bolt gives off enough electricity to power a whole city for an hour. We are shown the awesome power of water through footage and witness accounts of flash floods. We see footage of the yearly flooding of countries like India and Bangladesh, and Jim explains how floods happen, giving a warning that a mere 6 inches of water can do a great amount of damage. On a bigger scale, I was amazed to hear that a tsunami can travel up to 500 miles per hour. No wonder there is so much devastation after a tsunami hits. We are shown a detailed explanation of how El Niño and La Niña happen, quite a complex series of weather changes that has a global effect. Jim visits the sun's role in the water cycle and mentions how Solomon was given wisdom about the world's water supply. In Ecclesiastes 1:7, it says, "All streams run to the sea, but the sea is not full. To the place where the streams flow, will they flow again?" During one of the discussions about floods, I found it interesting that one of the experts mentioned Noah's flood as an example of how floods have been a part of nature for eons, as he put it. I found this interesting because Noah's flood was anything but a regular flood. It was a special event that the Lord has promised not to repeat. And that can be found in Genesis 9:11 through 16. Roaring Waters does a very good job of showing how God intended His powerful forces to be used and the consequence of living in a sinful world, because we see the devastation severe weather causes. I will no doubt be watching this series again. I have actually fallen asleep several times watching this series because the sound of the water and the calmness of the presenter's voice has lulled me to sleep. With that being said, this series is worth repeating because it's packed with wonderful information about the forces of God's creation. Thank you for listening to this review. Until next time, peace be with you.